It's strange, isn't it? This idea of like significance as a concept, like trying to understand one's significance. And I think religion often gives us a sense of significance.
Well, it does. Yes, of course. Hence its value to people and its persistence throughout time and across cultures.
Has your view of religion not changed through all that you've learned about the universe in any way since you were this? I've got this photos of you as a young man.
What's that? Oh, you did some homework there? What'd you do?
I've certainly got so many photos. I mean, I've got this one here of you and you. I mean, this one's a fascinating. I love that one.
Okay.
My hair was like this when I was that age.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. So this one was my first telescope, and that's my father helping me put it together.
If I think about this young man here and what he thought about religion, are you more religious, less religious? If so, why?
So, by the time I was 8, nothing was making sense that people were telling me about religion. What I didn't know is that belief systems don't have to make sense. That's why they're belief systems. If they made complete sense, it would just be objectively true. If it's a belief system, then it's beyond critical analysis. It's just a belief system, okay? So when I say beyond critical analysis, what I mean is if something in your belief system lends itself to be tested, we can test it. And if what we test shows that what you believe is false, are you going to stop believing? Generally not, because it's a belief system, okay? Most people want to engage you ultimately with some kind of spiritual religious conversation, I have found, especially given my access to the universe. And in the early days, there were easy answers. It was like, this is religion, go ahead, I'm doing science here. Then I thought, I owe people who are religious a more informed and nuanced engagement because of the power and force that religion has exercised on the history of the world. It's not just cultural, it's political, it's economic, So I started reading religious tracts. And now when I'm engaged in a conversation, I have a full-up conversation with people on their beliefs, whatever intersection, if any, with the objective universe, and what those beliefs do for the person who holds them. And there are many places on the internet that claim me as an atheist. And it's like, I've never embraced that title.
So you're not an atheist?
The only ist I am is a scientist, okay? Let's start there. Now, titles are lazy. I'll tell you why. Once you hand a title to someone, that gives you license to not have to think anymore about who and what that person is regarding that subject. And that has never ended well, in my experience. So, first, it's odd that such a word as atheist exists at all. Think about it. It's a word that says what you're not. Is there a word for non-golfers? Is there a word for ask yourself, how many things do we have words for which you're not? Very few. And so this exercise of saying you're either with us or you're against us, and if you're against us, I have this word for you that says you're not this. Like I said, that never ends well. It ends in war and bloodshed, typically. Leading atheists today who write books on this, okay? Richard Dawkins is among them. He wrote a book called The God Delusion. That's fighting words if there ever was one. These are people who reject God, reject its influence on politics and society and lives, and would just as soon see a world without it. I'm not that guy. I have behavior that would be rejected by any modern atheist thinker. So what am I? We pick the next word, would be agnostic, okay?
Okay, so let's pick that next word, which I also relate to. I would consider myself to be agnostic as well.
Agnostic, sure.
I just don't know. What's your leading view of where all of this stuff came from?
It's consistent with observations and experiment. The Big Bang.
The Big Bang.
Oh, it is so thoroughly supported, as fantastical as it is.
Explain the Big Bang to me like I'm 15.
I'll explain to you like you're 12.
Okay, please. Okay. Even better.
So approximately 13.8 billion years ago, everything that you see and interact with in this universe began in an infinitesimal point. That is the birth of the space and time of our universe. We have been expanding ever since. Now, how does something that big ever become that small? Well, it's not matter trying to occupy the same space as itself. Energy can be essentially any size compacted. And then you can measure what's there by what the temperature is. And so it's very hot fireball, basically. And as it expands, it cools, and the cooling energy makes matter. It's equals mc squared. Energy on one side, mass on the other side. This c squared is just the speed of light, just a constant. But Einstein came up with this in 1905, and it made so much of the universe make sense at that point. And so, and it would take a while. Do we expand? We cool enough to make stars and galaxies, and we're still expanding to this day. There are mysterious forces operating that we don't yet understand, what we call dark energy. That's a pressure in the vacuum of space, making us expand faster than what would be allowed by the collective gravity of all the galaxies. That's a frontier question that is not yet resolved. Then there's sources of gravity that we don't know what's causing it. We call that dark matter. If you add up dark matter and dark energy, it's 95% of what's driving the universe. So everything you and I know and love about the biology, chemistry, physics, astrophysics, forces, food, calories, molecules, solids, liquids, gas, it's 5% of what's going on in the universe. That's amazing. And this is why when I began, I said to you, sometimes I wonder whether we're smart enough to figure out the entirety of the universe, or do we just figure out our little fraction of it and live happily ever after within it. Now, that scenario, you have full rights to ask, what was around before that? So ask me that.
What was around before the Big Bang?
We have no idea.
Okay.
Well, we have suspicions. There might have been a multiverse, which has come out of latter-day mathematics related to quantum physics and Einstein's relativity. What comes out of those equations is a multiverse.
What's a multiverse?
It's this medium that is pumping out universes. We are just one of them.
What caused the multiverse?
We don't know.
Eventually,
it's a frontier. There's no crime in asking the question at the frontier of our knowledge. There are people who have to have answers. They don't make good scientists. The urge to have an answer can be influenced by their bias, by their culture, just take a look at all around the world, the origin stories. The origin stories flow out of the cultures from which they emanated.
What are your untested, unverified, untestable ideas about where all of this universe stuff might have gone? Because I know you must sit at home sometimes and just mull. You do a lot of mulling about the origins of the Big Bang and those things.
Well, we all do. So when you confront the unknown, you write the recipe for more data. That's all it is.
And what are those recipes that you've written?
We need a telescope. We have telescope. I haven't written them. I mean, my field has written them. We have telescopes specifically designed right now to get a better understanding of dark energy and its manifestation throughout time in the history of the universe.
Explain dark energy to me like I'm
No, it's something in the vacuum of space that's making the universe accelerate in its expansion.
Okay.
From that original explosion, we have all the galaxies, all the matter, all the gravity. You expect the expansion to be slowing down at some rate based on the gravity.
Oh, but it's speeding up.
It's like tossing something in the air. Gravity of Earth slows it down and actually makes it reverse. So we expect that. We went to make that measurement and we got the opposite answer. The universe is accelerating. That won a Nobel Prize. 1998 Nobel Prize. It's a term in Einstein's equation that he rejected. So there can't be a negative gravity. Its value in his equation must equal 0. And so let's move on. Then we discover it. We come up with a term for it. I think it's a bad term. Bad because it leads the witness. We don't know what it is at all. So don't call it dark and don't call it energy. Call it Fred. Okay, something. And dark matter, we don't know what that is either. Okay, let's call that Wilma. We got Fred and Wilma. We don't know what it is.
There should be a button just down below here. And if it says subscribed, you're already subscribed. If it says subscriber, that means you're not yet. And if you're not subscribed, please could you do us a favor and hit that button? It helps the show more than you know. And according to the algorithm, you're someone that watches our show, but you haven't yet hit that button. Thank you so much. So the key question I think that people are talking about at this moment in time, because you had Obama make those comments in that interview saying that he was joking. I think he was joking when he said there are aliens he's just never seen.
No. First, A, Obama is scientifically literate. It's A. B, he said, because he's scientifically literate, he said what is scientifically defensible, that there are probably aliens in the universe. Anyone who studied that problem will arrive at that conclusion.
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in, what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground facility, unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the President of the United States.
That's what he said. But as former President of the United States, and we have sort of alien adjacent culture, it was, oh, that must mean there are aliens in the basement of the White House or somewhere in government custody. They took his statement that, sure, there are aliens out there and turned it onto the U.S. government. And when I heard his comments, that's exactly what any scientifically literate person would say. What people did with that information, he then had to come back and explain. I didn't even think that was necessary, but apparently it was.
And then Trump responded.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
On Air Force One in an interview and said,
well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You know?
So aliens are real.
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information.
Trump seemed to stoke the idea that there is aliens. And then from that, shortly after, we had the UFO files announcement.
Sure, great. Bring them out. I love
that
it.
they were going to release the UFO files. And now we find ourselves at a place where the general public is, again, really, really curious about the subject of aliens. And you see it on the Google Trend data, which I've got in front of me here. You see the up, the down, the up, the down, based on what people are talking about. So my question to you is this central question, which is, do you believe there's intelligent life in the universe?
So one of those peaks in May, in part, was because there were files released that week by the Pentagon. And dare I suggest, my book was released in May, on May 12th.
Good timing.
Yeah, it just turned out that way. I decided to jump into the ring, not jump in, put a foot into the ring, more accurately, when I saw these high-ranking whistleblowers come forward in Congress, sworn testimony. Whistleblowers, former intelligence officers, former military folk. And I said, all right, it's time to jump in, because no longer can you discount the testimony the way you might have done so before with the farmer in the back 40, who saw something and is talking about it, but didn't take a picture of it. All right. All these testimonies that have existed in the past and accounts of UFOs, now when official government people are doing it, then, all right, it's time to take it up a notch. And what do I mean by that? Bring out the alien. If you're saying you got an alien in the shed, in the back 40, just bring it out. And the moment you do that, no one will ever have to ask again, do you believe in aliens? That's the question I've been asked. Do I believe in aliens? No one has ever asked me, do I believe in elephants? Why? Because we've shown elephants. Okay? We have elephants. We've seen elephants. So,
but do you think there's intelligent life in the universe?
I don't see why there wouldn't be, given the size of the universe and the age of the universe and the ingredients of the universe. I mean, think about it. In the early Earth, life got underway within 100 million years of as early as it possibly could have. That sounds like a long time, and it is, but that's small compared with the timeline of Earth itself. of life on Earth. It's like 5% of the timeline of the Earth. Almost as fast as it could possibly happen, the basic ingredients on Earth, which match the basic ingredients of the universe, went from organic molecules to self-replicating life. Whatever our challenges in the lab, Earth didn't seem to have a problem accomplishing it. And so look how quickly that happened. Yes, it would take a long time, much longer, to generate what we're calling intelligent life. But given how many planets are likely in the galaxy, our catalogs now have 6,000 exoplanets in them. And that's just in a tiny little area. That'd be in a little circle, that'd be in a little, if the sun is here, draw a little B circle around it where we've searched for exoplanets, and we have 6,000 just in that little.
What's an exoplanet?
Exoplanet, planet orbiting another star.
Oh, there's 6,000 in a little.
We've cataloged 6,000. In 1995, what year were you born?
92.
92. So you were 3 years old when we discovered our first exoplanet.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And now
Blimey.
we're rising through 6,000. It was banner headlines back then, not today. But if life happened on Earth as swiftly as it did, no one among us who've studied the problem are given reason to doubt that it couldn't happen frequently elsewhere in our galaxy or in the trillion other galaxies in the universe.
This is just the Milky Way galaxy.
This is a version. Yeah, this is. If you could step out of our Milky Way, it would resemble this greatly.
This is one galaxy, right?
One galaxy containing hundreds of billions of stars. This cloudy thing, you cannot resolve the cloud into the individual stars. Galileo did this. He said, I wonder what that Milky Way is. Is that just a cloud? Took his telescope, put it on the Milky Way. He saw individual stars.
And how many galaxies are there in the universe?
100 billion stars in a galaxy, at least 100 billion galaxies in the universe.
Is the answer that we just don't know how many there are?
Let's quantify what it is to not know. In the universe, things range over such a huge scale that if you're off by a factor of 2, which sounds significant in most everyday life, but if things range over factors of trillions, then if you can get an answer within a factor of 2, you're doing really well. You have a basic understanding of structure, space, and time. And so our galaxy has several 100 billion stars in it. No, we don't have an exact count, but that's a very good estimate because we know the total mass of the galaxy and we know how much mass a star occupies. We know how much dark matter there is. So we can calculate the likely number of stars there are in the galaxy.
Planets?
So now, given our data on planets that we've obtained, we have many star systems with multiple planets. And that's just in our neighborhood. So if that's representative, then you just scale that up. So if you looked in that little zone everywhere and just up the number, you end up with millions of planets, possibly billions across the galaxy. That's how you would estimate that. So it's not knowing the exact answer is not the same thing as having no clue.
And there might be hundreds of billions of galaxies.
Yes. Not just might be. There's at least that many. In the observable universe,
In the observer.
the actual universe goes beyond our horizon in the same way for a ship at sea, you have a horizon.
Mhm.
Are you saying to yourself, well, that's the edge of the earth or that's the edge of the ocean? No. You keep sailing and more ocean comes in view.
Is it infinite?
It might be. We don't know. You're asking all good questions. And you're going right to the edge of what we don't know.
Is it possible for something to be infinite?
I'm not going to put a prerequisite on the universe that it's not. Just because infinity is kind of hard for the human brain to wrap your head around doesn't mean the universe can't or shouldn't be it. We've made assumptions about the universe just to be consistent with our own philosophies that just turn out to be flat wrong. Copernicus, a religious man, comes up with an idea that maybe the sun is in the center of the known universe and not Earth. So we go from geocentric to heliocentric. All right. Well, if you do that, then we don't have epicycles. All right. Then we just have orbits, simple orbits around the sun. Well, he did that. You know, it didn't match the observations as well as the epicycles did. So do you throw out the whole idea? No, we would learn later, 50 years later. The orbits are not perfect circles. He made them perfect circles because it's the universe. God created the universe. God is perfect. The circle is a perfect geometric shape. Clearly, anything moving in the universe is going to be in a perfect circle. That was an assumption placed on the universe derived from our own philosophical proclivities. In that case, a religiously philosophical proclivity.
Mm-hmm.
So, given this exercise, this failed exercise in the history of science, of which there are many examples one can give, I will not say that the universe can't be infinite.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.